Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Duo. We're here for the Kneejerk reaction stream for obviously Game Week 34, the Blank Gameweek 34, and looking ahead to Game Week 35. Now, obviously, before we get into this video, guys, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe for more, and leave a comment down below if you wish. And also, obviously, let's start off by saying well done to Liverpool. Just a few moments ago, they won against Spurs, which officially means they're now the Premier League title winners of this season. So yeah, well done, and also to those Liverpool fans out there, including Huss, who's currently in Liverpool at the moment. It's celebrating amongst the fans. So give him his best regards, guys, for little Huss, who is currently over there at the moment. And I'll be taking the stream for obviously this game week. Now, it has been quite a lively game week, not just for Liverpool winning the Premier League, but overall the points have been really high, surprisingly, for the free hit Blank Game Week. So as you can see on the screen, this is Huss's team, and I think he'll be quite delighted with it, as much as with Liverpool winning the league. But let's start off with his team. So in goal on his free hit, as you guys know, he activated the free hit chip, which is active, and this is the team he went with. So starting off in goal, he had Nick Pope. Just for clarification, I'm just going to load up his team on the website so I know what exactly who got what in terms of his team, because I want to make sure I get this all accurate. So yeah, Nick Pope with 6 points, 3-0 win in the end against Ipswich. I did say this is one of the fixtures where the clean sheet was more likely to happen in, and yes, it did. Obviously, clean sheet for Pope, 6 points, no bonus, just a clean sheet, which is a nice result, especially for anyone that had Newcastle defence or the goalkeeper for the free hit. Moving on to the back three, so there is success in all three positions here in terms of players. So let's start off with Cucurella, who us went with as a differential. No one really picked a Chelsea defender, I don't think, against this game, but I'll quite say Chelsea, that's probably the best I've seen Chelsea play since the start of the season. So they really kicked it up a gear, and it looked like in that game that they really meant it in terms of they won a championship spot, because they certainly proved it in that game. I thought they were outstanding. Palmer not so much, obviously, as we'll move on to him later, but even the goalkeeper Sanchez made a really good save to stop obviously Chelsea from drawing that game, and was a vital point of winning that too. So yeah, big win for Chelsea. They got a lot of milestones to go as they face tougher opponents along the way, but that's the first good set for them, and obviously 6 points for Cucurella for the clean sheet. Moving on to Nuri, who has a massive double haul of 11 points, and I believe he was substituted off around the 75th minute as well, as the game was pretty much done and dusted. Yeah, he got an attack and return, which was 1 assist with the clean sheet and the bonus 2 in that 3-0 win over Leicester. And again, this is one of those games where I thought this clean sheet was going to happen. Leicester, just apart from that Brighton game, they have not scored at all. So I'm not surprised by that scoreline. And I also predicted a 3-0 win in the end, which did happen. So prediction-wise, it's nailed on. And yeah, good return if you had Nate Nuri on the free hit as well. And also next to him is Sessegnon, who I mentioned a lot in the deadline stream for you guys to actually go for. And turns out Sessegnon did a massive madness. He scored the goal and was awarded the bonus 3 in the end. Unfortunately, there was no clean sheet for Fulham, as what usually happens. Southampton did score, but they actually scored the first goal in this game, which normally they normally score on late on in the game. But yeah, they were ahead 1-0 Southampton at one point, but Fulham did claw it back, making it 2-0, and I believe Sessegnon was the winning goal in that. So yeah, very big points at the back three in terms of defenders, and 4 out of 4 for goalkeeper and defenders in terms of returns and clean sheets. Moving on to the midfield 4. And yeah, the only player that really didn't get much was Palmer. And it may not be to a surprise. It has been a while since we've seen Palmer score a goal. I believe that is since game week 21 was his last goal. So that does mean that's 13 weeks now where Palmer hasn't scored a goal for Chelsea, which seems like a very lengthy run of goal drought for Cole Palmer. Not really sure what that's down to, but it's not going to get any easier, I think, because of the fixtures that Chelsea do have coming up. But yeah, only 3 points for Cole Palmer. No goals, no assists for him yet. And moving on to the more obviously victorious moments of the team, which was Luis Diaz. A part of the 5-1 win against Tottenham. He was one of the players that did score one of the goals, and yeah, again, paid off massively. Differential, I believe, as well, or not such a differential, 18%, but a very rewarding goal for Luis Diaz. I think he scored the second goal, and there was so many goals in that game, I couldn't keep up, but he did score a goal. 7 points rewarded for obviously Luis Diaz. I don't think any bonus points were on top of that, so yeah, nice return. Next to him, Jacob Murphy did manage to get an assist and a clean sheet point whilst only playing 66 minutes in that game. So yeah, he was the more favourable player to go for over Barnes. And yeah, if you add him again, very good. Nice attack and return there, 6 points. Now for all the points count. Moving on to King Salah. He's now a Premier League, obviously champion again, second time running for Liverpool. And yes, he did score. Thankfully, I think for those who captured him, it looked like he wasn't going to score from the opportunities and moments he had in that game. Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a blank for him. But no, it wasn't to be. He did score the goal and was one of the victors in that win over Spurs. And obviously, he was the captain pick, so that is 14 points for House's captain. Moving on to the front three. Now, again, this was a massive pointage, obviously, for this player. Hence why he is on the thumbnail. That is Cunha with the 15 points, the goal, and the 2 assists, along with the bonus 3. And I did have a good feeling about Cunha in this fixture. He's one of those players that does normally explode when it comes to a nice fixture like that. And especially after returning from injury, it seems like he was obviously the same player that we saw before. Obviously, little injury. So yeah, it's nice to see him back firing on all cylinders with a 15-pointer against Leicester. Moving on to the vice captain, that was Isaac, who did score. Obviously, a penalty given to Newcastle, and again, he was taken off around the 75th minute as well to be rested. And yeah, another nice goal. No bonus points though for Isaac, and just 6 points. And finally, moving on to Raul Jimenez, which I'm surprised that this was it's not unusual for a forward like Raul Jimenez against a team like Southampton to not blank. As I said, a lot of players play a high line and they get more involved than the actual main player that you think will score. But only 1 point for Raul Jimenez didn't really pay off having him. Well, he did get a yellow card as well, so a point was taken off of him for that. So yeah, not much success from obviously Raul Jimenez, but considering the rest of the team, Palmer and Raul Jimenez are the only players that Huss had blank. Everyone else got a return. And just quickly on the bench, obviously Leno with 2 points. In Burmo has yet to play against Nottingham Forest away. I believe that's Thursday, so we won't see what happens then. Trent on 5 points. I think he got an assist in one of the goals leading up to that. Played about 75 minutes again. And Reece James with 1 point. He was benched, but he did come on for about 20 minutes or so in that Chelsea game. Missed out on the clean sheet, but I don't think that will matter anyway because he's on the last on the bench. And yeah, in terms of that overall, so far for Huss, I believe that's all his players played in the 11. It's currently 88 points for him, so I think he'd be happy with that result. high scoring game week for him, and a massive green arrow as well, 100k or so green. So he was on 400 and something k. Now he's up to 350. So I think he'd be delighted with that, as long as not the Forest don't pull off a madness like Chris Wood or obviously Brentford within Burmo. That should be a substantial big green move, closer to near the 100k mark where he was originally targeting for. So that is obviously how his team discussed and run through. I will now move on to my team and discuss how obviously I got on for this game week so far. So obviously I do have a few players left to play. In my team I have 2 left, which is Milenkovic and then Burma, who play against each other. So I won't find out until Thursday, obviously, on what happens then with them two. But let's start off with obviously Pickford in goal, who was rewarded with obviously 4 points in the end. No clean sheet for him, but he did keep Everton obviously conceding more goals than they would have. He made some great saves in that game. Denied obviously the team a lot in that match. It could have been much worse than 1-0 to Chelsea. I thought again they played really well. Pickford made 6 saves in that game, very key ones, and I think 1-0 was very generous for Everton. But yeah, I'll take the 4 points from Pickford, considering that was a game where he didn't get a clean sheet in, because that does somewhat almost make up as a clean sheet. Moving on to the back four currently. So Huijsen, I'm a bit annoyed at this one because of the red card that Evan Nielsen got in that game against Man United. I think if Evan Nielsen wasn't sent off in that fixture, that would have been a clean sheet there for obviously Bournemouth, because Man United were pushing as soon as Evan Nielsen went off. They were pushing and pushing for that goal, and they eventually got it from Huijsen in the end, and that wiped obviously the clean sheet from Huijsen. Otherwise, he was on for at least 5 points in that game, which I'm quite annoyed about. But it is one of those that happens. It's a very controversial red card. If it was down to him slipping or etc., but I won't go into that too deep. But it is one of those controversial decisions made, which somewhat affected the game, because it did end 1-1 in the end from a late goal from obviously Man United in the extra 9 minutes they had to play. But moving on, obviously to Aït-Nouri, as we've spoken about, Neville Pointer. Lovely to have him in this game week, as I am playing with only 10 playing players. Mikalenko, on the other hand, only 2 points, obviously double Everton defence I played, and obviously no clean sheet because Chelsea did win 1-0 in the end. Moving on to the midfield three. So Salah, who we spoke about, scored 7 points for him. He was my vice captaincy. And then followed by Barnes, who was the player I took the -4 on. And obviously I didn't really pay off. He only got the clean sheet point. No attacking returns, surprisingly, even though Newcastle won 3-0 in the end. He did play about 75 minutes though, which I expected him to do. And obviously Gordon did come on for the last few minutes, but yeah, I think I would have been alright not going for the -4 now, considering Barnes only got me 3 points from the -4. But moving on to the front, let's say front two, because Marmoush hasn't got a fixture for this week. So Isaac 6 points, scored from the penalty, already discussed. And obviously Cunha, who was my captain for this week and massively paid off with 30 points. He managed to beat Salah and Isaac combined pointage. So I'm happy with that. I picked the right captain for this week. I could have picked Aït-Nouri if I really wanted the extra, obviously 3 points on top of that. But I'm happy with the Cunha pick with the goal and 2 assists with the bonus points. So maximum reward for Cunha captain is out there. And then obviously on the bench, nothing really to discuss because every player on my bench has a blank fixture, apart from Vardy Marston, but I don't expect him to play anyway because he is the second goalkeeper for Brentford, as Flecken is the main one, who's got Nottingham Forest away. So that doesn't really matter. But so far this week has been pretty good for a -4. I have 65 points, which is technically 61 if you count obviously the hit I took to bring Barnes in. But is a generous green arrow. Currently, it is about 100k. I was expecting a little bit more, if I'm honest, of a green arrow, but it isn't that substantial. But I take it. I will take it. I'm trying to get the best rank I can before the season ends, but that's just one step forward in the right direction. But I still have Burmo and Milenkovic to play, so hopefully that green arrow can improve a little bit more. I think it's a green arrow regardless now, as I don't feel like there's any threats to my rank. Apart from Chris Wood, obviously, that could affect that. But it would have to take something massive for Chris Wood to obviously remove my green arrow and turn it into a red. So I'm hoping in Burmo and on all Milenkovic doing madness in the Thursday fixture. But yeah, in the end, it's been a great week. So far, I'm happy with obviously the blank game week. I still have my free hit as well, which I'm also glad about. And that's obviously the cue to move on to what Game Week 35 has to offer. But before I get into that, I'll answer a few of your comments in the chat before I move on. So the first one is from Elika. Hello to you. 65 points without no chip is pretty good. I got 78 with Burma and Wood left. These last 3 weeks have been very nice to me, up to 370k overall. So yeah, very good week. Adaka from you too. 78 points is very good with Burma and Wood left to play. That is the only thing that scares me, is going without Chris Wood, because even after his injury, he did manage to still score a goal. And whatever he gets from obviously this game against obviously Brentford, that might be maybe 100 points for you if you're fortunate with in Burma and Chris Wood in that game. Hopefully it's a high scoring game for you, Elika. But yeah, 370k overall. You're almost similar rank to Huss. So yeah, it's good to have finally a captain pick that pays off. I absolutely agree. And James in the chat, who I remember from the obviously deadline stream about whether you wanted to wildcard or take a -8. Thank you for saying to go wildcard. I'm sure you meant free hit, but 100 point in the bag. Yeah, obviously, James, we try to give you the best advice we can towards what your team and your situation is in. And yeah, well done. That's all down to you, though. You made the ultimate decision to do that. So well done on the 100-pointer in the bag. So on that note, let's move on, guys, to obviously Game Week 35. I haven't actually seen my team for Game Week 35, so there will be some jiggling and moving about needed, I think. So there we go. So yeah, let me just swap over and you can see my screen for the Game Week 35 teams. So obviously in goal, I do have Pickford, who has a nice fixture against Ipswich at home. I kind of expect a clean sheet there as well. I might actually play double Everton defence for that too, because I don't honestly see Ipswich scoring at home to Everton. I still think they're relatively good defence, so hopefully they hold them off like obviously Newcastle did this week. But the rejiggle here will probably be Hoyson, who's got Arsenal away now. Obviously, Arsenal haven't got anything to play for anymore in the Premier League, as we now have Liverpool as champions. But it still means that it doesn't mean that they won't score against Bournemouth. I still think they'll play for the pride and get the highest amount of points they can in the table. So I'll possibly play. Well, obviously play Rodgers, who's got Fulham at home. Tough fixture, but I think I prefer that over Hoyson, who has Arsenal away. But yeah, this is the current back three. Milenkovic, Crystal Palace, Aintner, who's got Man City away, and Milenkovic, which are home. I might even be tempted to play, maybe, this is a bit of a clash, but maybe play Munoz, who's playing against Milenkovic, but or maybe I do play Hoyson and see what can happen against Arsenal, just to have that variety. Otherwise, there's a clash there between the two defenders. But yeah, that's the back three, I think, for the moment. Midfield four is Rodgers with Fulham. Salah's got Chelsea away. Burma's got Man United at home. interesting fixture, and Barnes has Brighton away. So relatively nice midfield, not too bad. Quite happy with the selections there. And up front, we've got Isaac, Marmoush, and Cunha. So, yeah, nice fixtures all around there. Isaac's got Brighton, Marmoush got Wolves, and obviously Cunha's playing against him away. Again, I'm not really keen on the front line because of Cunha having, obviously, Man City. I'll just have a look at Wolves' fixtures because, yeah, their last fixtures are relatively average, not the greatest. But I think I'll still play Cunha anyway, despite that. In terms of captaincy, I haven't really thought about it. I do want to slightly go different still as I'm chasing rank. It just depends on who I decide to pick as a captain choice. I will think about in Burma as captain against Man United at home. I'm just not convinced with Man United. I know Bournemouth drew against them, but I think that'd be a different story if Bournemouth had 11 men on the pitch. So yeah, I think I will put some faith in Burma this week and go against Salah again. But yeah, I'll have to see. But that's what I'm generally thinking of doing. I think. But in terms of transfer moves, if I move over to the other page, because I do have one free transfer left with a lot of money in the bank. Really, I have no issues with money. 7.8 million. The one that really stands out for me in terms of transfers, because I haven't actually thought any of this through. I've literally just looked at this team now and saw it. So I might as well plan with you guys what to do going forward. As I still need to play in goalkeeper for my bench boost whenever I use that. I plan to free hit in double game week 36. So I want to go off the chart with a player selection here. So maybe taking out. So I'm happy with the front three, I think, despite Cunha having a tough fixture. I think I might take out Barnes. No, I just bought him in for -4. And let me just check the fixtures at Newcastle. Yeah, again, they're not really that easy. They are challenging, somewhat challenging. And then I've got to pick another midfielder. And who do I fancy picking? Got to be something different. Not Clive, because he's got Arsenal. Yeah, I might have to think about this, guys, who I decide to bring in. Or if I just roll. I could just possibly roll the game week, but I don't know about Crystal Palace. I'm not really keen on that. Yeah, I'm really keen on that, though. I could possibly move Saar, but yeah, I'll have to think about it because there's a lot to obviously look at now. After just looking at it now, I need to have a good rethink on that one. But you get the general idea of my plan in terms of chip strategy. So yeah, a few more comments to read out. Was the Eleka? I feel like it hasn't been that easy to get triple-digit points this season. Fair play. Yeah, it hasn't really. I think I've only had it once so far this season. I've not had many. I've been close to getting them, but not quite there for a triple digit. And what's your thoughts on targeting teams that are competing for Europe ever since there isn't much to play for elsewhere? Yeah, obviously, yeah, that does just play a key factor. Targeting teams that are competing for Europe since there isn't much to play for elsewhere. Like, for example, Man United have Europa League. Obviously, Arsenal have got nothing to play for now in Premier League because Liverpool are now champions. Liverpool even have nothing to play for now apart from gaining the most points. But I still think Salah's still... you still keep Salah in your team regardless. I don't think any other Liverpool player maybe you might not want to have now. And obviously, got the other teams competing for that championship qualification: Newcastle, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, and Man City. Now, those are teams you want to be really targeting because they're the ones that have a lot to play for still in the Premier League in terms of championship qualification. So you definitely want to pick someone from those teams that still have something to play for, rather than picking, like, for example, Wolves, nothing to play for. Bournemouth again, not really nothing to play for. Mid-table teams, they don't really go for anything. They try. Obviously, they'll still go for it, but it's in terms of how many points they get to maximize their position in the table. But you definitely want to be playing for teams that need something for next season. But yeah, that's my view on obviously that, Elika. Hopefully that gives you a better obviously perspective on now picking players is more obviously important than rather than picking anyone. Hence why, even though they have a tough fixture, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a hard one for them. In terms of they'll still fight for it, because they have a lot to play for still, for other purposes. James, is that good differential? Brighton defense rubbish. Yeah, Brighton do ship a lot of goals. They actually did against Southampton in that 2-2 draw, I believe. So yeah, Southampton scored 2 against Brighton, then I can see why that could mean that their defense isn't the greatest to have. But yeah, I do agree. Isaac is a good differential, especially when he hasn't been that lively. When it feels like he hasn't been that lively. I mean, he scored 1 goal here and there. It's sort of binary how he's scored in every game week. But it's not been massive like he was doing in, let's say, game week 26, game week 23, where he had double hauls. It has been like 1 goal and that's it for him. But yeah, I mean, Brighton is a nice fixture. They could possibly target Isaac for, because it could be one of those where he gets maybe a double haul in that fixture. In terms of obviously the fixtures for game week 35, they're quite mixed. I think there is a few clashes here and there, especially if you have Arsenal players in your team, or Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. They're playing against each other. I do think it's one of those average weeks. Even though I said this game week could be low scoring average, turns out it wasn't. But yeah, it does depend on how many goals there are, because there are a lot of goals this game week than what we normally see, and that's obviously down to good fixtures. But yeah, in terms of transfer plans, yeah, I will need to consider and think about this on if I bring in anyone. I could potentially roll and go with 2-3 transfers before the free hit. Just use 2 in. Actually, no, I can't, because obviously the deadline is game week 35. So I'll need to use the transfer this week before the game week 35 happens. So yeah, I'm not sure who to bring in, but I'm sure near the time, given the time after the stream, I will know for sure who I'm leading towards, and you guys will find out. Obviously on the deadline stream, which is on a Friday, not a Saturday. So it is a Friday one. It is a late evening deadline. I think 6:30 is when the deadline ends. So we'll be going live at 5:30 UK time PM on obviously the 2nd of May. So tune in for that. Obviously when it comes, but yeah, it is I do like a Friday deadline rather than a Saturday morning one, just to get that extra line in the morning. Erica, if you said you're going to bench boost at 37, maybe Martinez is an option. Yeah, I mean, if I'm bench boosting at 37, then maybe I should really pick a playing goalkeeper. as well. For that reason, because if I free hit him 36, I'm gonna have this team, but I'm still gonna have a non-playing goalkeeper, which is Vardy Marson, and I know it's not really important to have a playing goalkeeper on the bench boost, as normally they don't really get a clean sheet, but I do want to maximise on that if there is a chance for my goalkeeper, whoever I pick to get one. So maybe, I don't know if, maybe I make a goalkeeper transfer this week instead. I'll have to see. I think that sort of makes more reason to do that. So I have all players there having a fixture. But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I can afford any goalkeeper, which is a luxury with that amount of money there. But yeah, it just depends on who I pick and what feature they have. But yeah, I think that pretty much has wrapped up everything. Because obviously, for those who don't know, Huss is currently in Liverpool. If you did just join the stream after I said it the first time, he's currently celebrating there, so he won't be back till later on. Hence why I'm taking this stream today. But he will be available and back for the deadline on Friday, which is obviously fast approaching. But I think that is it, guys. It's going to be a short, obviously, knee-jerk reaction than it normally is. But yeah, obviously for the blank game week, there is less to mention as well in terms of our players. But there's been a lot to discuss, obviously, in terms of how many points we've individually got, both on currently green arrows as well, which is a nice result for a game week. Alex says, I would congratulate Haas, but I can't because it's a little easy in Liverpool. Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, Haas is a Liverpool fan. If you guys didn't know that, so yeah. Obviously, congrats to Liverpool. That does mean they are level with Man United on 20 Premier League trophies now, which even for me, it's hard to swallow that the fact that they're level with us on obviously trophies, but it's a great achievement as well at the same time for them. But yeah, I'm sure he's having an amazing time over there in Liverpool at the moment in terms of his celebration. Soul Searcher 93 points, currently at 54k. Yeah, that's massive. Soul Searcher, well done. That's a good place in terms of rank to be at this stage of the season with only a couple of weeks to go. So yeah, that's good vibes. Certainly, they're 93 points. If you still have players left to play, you could possibly get a triple-digit game week. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. But obviously, that 93 can turn into a 3-digit. But yeah, it's been quite a game. I've enjoyed this obviously game week, not just because of obviously Green Arrow, but in terms of the matches, were really good to watch and entertaining. Obviously, you saw Man City, not the Forest player as well in the mix in terms of the FA Cup. If you guys are interested in that, also, Man City did win 2-0 in the end. That doesn't mean not the Forest are obviously out of the FA Cup, unfortunately, but they still have something to play for in the Premier League for the Championship qualifications, which looking promising so far. If they can win against Crystal Palace away, looks even more promising. But that does mean for double game week 36, potentially Man City might have a double. And it does mean Crystal Palace might have a double as well. We'll have to wait and see for the official confirmation of that. But because they went through to the FA Cups, then obviously that does mean they'll have a fixture, an extra fixture left to play near the end. But we'll wait for official confirmation of that before we get ahead of ourselves. But yeah, I think I'll wrap up the stream here, guys. Thank you for watching, as always, and thanks for your input in the chat. It's always appreciated. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more, and tell your friends and family about obviously our content. Hopefully they can obviously watch it along with you too as well. But on that note, I will see you. Good evening, guys, morning or night, wherever you are watching this in the world, and we'll see you for the deadline stream on Friday evening at 5:30 p.m. So stay tuned for that. Take care until then. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and see you very soon.